So let's go back to, I don't know, childhood, high school, college, right? Like when you decided you wanted to go into medicine, like what took you there? And then we're going to say all the non-medical, like trying to get the story of like how it all began. But like your drive to go into medicine, like why, how, tell some of our listeners.
Yeah, so I think all the things I do today are driven by curiosity, and so that tracks all the way back to when I was a kid as well. I'm just curious about everything, and I think most things, like even something as complex as a rocket, like if you study it for long enough, you understand like 99% of it, right? But the human body, there's so much we don't know about, and so my answer isn't like, oh, helping everyone. It honestly was curiosity, the curiosity about what we know and learning those things, but then so much that we don't know, and knowing that even if I am in medicine for 50 years, there's going to be a learning path and that curiosity and answering questions. And so that was what initially drew me to the sciences and medicine, but then I am a curious person, and so I'm someone who I can't focus on one thing and that be like the only thing for the rest of my life, much like you guys, right? And so when I was in college, I was majoring in biology, and then I realized I would graduate in like 3 years because of like AP credits and whatnot. And I was like, well, rather than graduating in 3 years, let me do four. And I'd always been curious about political science, and so I doubled majored in political science, and so that gave me kind of like obviously an understanding of policy. And one other thing I do a whole bunch of is like with various even medical organizations, do advocacy and go to like the Hill in Texas or DC, and advocate for like these various issues like Medicare cuts and whatever the case may be. And so using that kind of degree and knowledge, and that taught me a bunch of communication skills as well. And then kind of scratching these other itches as I went through med school and then residency and then post residency as well. And so kind of allowing myself to, I guess you would say, scratch that itch of curiosity along the way, and not squashing anything.
So like in med school and residency, how'd you balance this need to stay focused and get decent grades and USMLEs and all the stuff that we've all done with, hey, there's a little shiny thing over here that I really love to touch and feel and learn more about.
Yeah, so obviously it was hard, and especially during residency, right? When you're working all those hours. So for me, it was my stress relief. And so to others, when I talk about like, hey, I replied to a bunch of emails and set up like these like food visits and whatever the case may be, or set up these podcast tapings and dedicated time to it, sounds like work, but for me, it doesn't sound like work. And so it would be like the one day off a week I had, and it would be like 12 hours in front of a computer doing those things, and following up and setting up, the business and how do you set up an LLC and whatever the case may be. And so for me, it never felt like work. It felt like excitement and curiosity, and me kind of furthering this other kind of passion and curiosity I had. And I think that's kind of the key thing for me. Whenever there is something that, something may seem shiny on paper, and someone may be like, hey, do you want to sign up for like this committee or this thing? And it may look good, but I realize that if I'm not passionate about it, I'm going to drop the ball. I'm going to make that person disappointed, and it's not going to benefit anyone. And so for me, as long as it's something that I'm curious about and I want to learn about, then it doesn't seem like work, and